I am very, very sorry, but the truth is, in Christianity, or sorry, in the Bible, there is no, um, there is no good example of good fathers, good mothers, aside from the example that was given to us by our Lord Jesus Christ and all the written out rules. Okay, love your children, respect your children, do not anger your children, blah blah blah, and stuff. There has not been like a real good fatherly example, good motherly example to Christians written out in black and white in the Bible. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, give me a verse in the Bible and correct me if I'm wrong. But that's actually the truth I see. When you mention one of the greatest men in the Bible, either they were not married or they literally had nothing written good about them when it comes to their family and their children. When it also comes to a lot of great women in the Bible, they only some of them in the New Testament that actually took care of their children to follow God, to follow Christ. And the kids obeyed and they also did follow Christ and became great people in the Bible, even wrote books in the Bible. But aside from that, like, I just keep seeing great people either not marry or their kids end up in one of the worst way possible, or they are they don't even have anything written out about them being parents written in the Bible. And then I'm like, is that the reason why some very religious people have their kids turn out to be a complete opposite of them because perhaps they didn't see the example like to follow? When you talk about Jacob, you talk about Isaac, you also talk about Abraham. Abraham was a good father to some extent. I'm sorry, but yeah, he showed examples as a good father, I think. But for that same father to now not like mistreat one of his child, I would say okay, perhaps he was a good father to Isaac, but definitely not a good father to his second like to his first child. And then when you also look at Isaac his son. Isaac his son too, he was deceived. When you look at his wife to Rebecca, she was a mother who showed preferential treatment to her children, treated one kindly, mistreated the other one. And Isaac, I feel like in that kind of a home where something like that is happening, Isaac should have stepped up, but it's not written out in the Bible that he actually stood up for his son Esau and tried to at least give him the love that he truly deserved. Even especially with the fact that his mom was unwilling to give him that love. And when then you now look at Jacob. Jacob was a great father to Joseph. Joseph turned out well. He turned out to be a very great person in his lifetime. But his other kids, 10 of them, Joseph and Benjamin turned out to be very great people because they lived very close to their dad and they were well taken care of by their dad. But when you look at the other ones, the remaining 10, they must have felt unloved by their father enough for them to have strong jealousy to kill their very own brother because they even did it to almost more or less even make their father even suffer. That's to show you that he probably was not also a good father. He didn't make himself like a good father figure to his kids. He only should have showered love to Joseph, gave Joseph a lot of love and attention and affection. And Benjamin, he also did the same thing, Benjamin too. And that was why all of them turned out well. But when you look at the other children, you're now wondering, like, if they had given these kids a lot more love, perhaps they wouldn't have been as wicked as they were in the case of Abraham. And although that was a commandment from God that he should send them out, but still. And Esau, if he had and Isaac, if he had stepped up and like protected Esau from that um lack of love that he got, was having with his mom, the lack of love from his mom, I guess it would have helped a lot of a lot of things in the story of Esau's life. And then Jacob, if he has stepped up into the life of his older children and was with them, perhaps things would have been a lot different. Same thing with a great man like David, very great in the Bible, but his children, the only child that turned out to be that allowed God to use him was Solomon. And Solomon, his child, too, turned out to be something else entirely. I'm not wondering, like, so they had so much time to serve God, right? Yes, they did. But it seemed the more time like they spent with God, the less time they spent with their children. Rather than bringing their children in and taking them along with them to serve God, to be with God, to love God, they literally were not they were not very good father figures to those children, leading them in the path of righteousness. Solomon's son just turned out to be something else entirely. Something else entirely. And I'm not wondering, such a wise man, such an intelligent person, yet you couldn't impart anything into the life of your children. Same thing with some of the women. Like, you see them great people. But when you talk about how great they are in the Bible, the men and women, you can't just even see one of their child to be like, okay, yeah, this one turned out to be well, he was perfect up and down. Or even if one of them turned out to be perfect, or two of them turned out to be perfect, then 10 of them, we have so much imperfection that you begin to wonder now, what might they have, like, what did they go through to have turned them into such, I say, evil people? Yeah, and it's a cause of concern because I also see a lot of pastors, a lot of ministers, and they are so spirit filled. They are very strict on their kids. They are enforcing a lot of doctrines, both biblical and those that they actually got as ideas on their own, uh, passionate convictions. They enforce it in their family, which is good. Like Joshua, me and my house will serve the Lord. Beautiful. But at the end of the day, you just see the kids just turn out to be something else. And then it's a cause of worry, it's a cause for worry, it's a cause for concern. And you are wondering what went wrong. Your father was such a spirit filled minister, and you just turned out to be even worse than the members' children. I'm just like, I don't know. I just feel perhaps maybe the devil is just actively going after the children of ministers, and since a lot of them are not Christians themselves, they are unable to defend themselves against the plans of the devil, and so they easily fall into those kind of temptations and stuff. And yeah, I just want to say another thing too is that, and if you are a minister and then you have a family, you have kids, don't leave all the parenting to their mom. Also, don't just think, he did this, I'll flog him. He did that, I'll flog him. You are so busy taking care of every other person that your family is going down the drain, is degenerating, and then you are so concerned about your um congregation, that your own very family, your own nuclear family, your kids are turning out to be something else. Pay attention to your kids, and it's not all about being strict, it's not all about being forceful, because sometimes your kids see you being jovial and nice to the members children, and then you come back home and then you are now strict with your children at home. You're now harsh with your children at home. Then there is just this difference that he just loves the congregation, he just loves his people in the church, he does not care about them. Also, you women leader, you're always smiling with the daughters of other people, and you're encouraging them and you're being there for them. And when the parents are having problem with their children, they're bringing their children to you, and then you're advising them with love. But when it comes to your own children, you all the only language you know is just beat them, and they did this airflow, you flog them. They will begin to see you as their enemy rather than somebody that truly loves them, because they have seen another side of you. It's not as if you cannot be gentle and loving with them. They are seeing you being gentle and loving with other people's children, but you cannot be that gentle and loving with them as their parents. So it's a cause for concern. It's a cause that, and if you feel you don't have like, yes, we see a lot of people becoming prophets and stuff and living holy life and righteous life, but then you are finding it that there is not enough stories for you to learn from so that you can be a good parent. You also need to ask God for wisdom, and if you ask God for wisdom, hopefully God will answer your prayer, and then you'll be able to show them the right love. And also those things that your parents did to you that did not help your life and also probably traumatize you, don't move it to your children, because then you'll be causing generational trauma, because then your children too will do the same thing to their children too will do the same thing to their own children too. And then it's continuous like that circle down your generation, and it will not be a good thing that you have laid up for them. Show them love. I know you need to flog children sometimes, so I'm not against beating, but also show them that I can also love you at times when I know that you really need it, and I can correct you with love, and I'm correcting you because I love you, not because you are just this stubborn bad child that I have to be tough for you so that you will learn. Well, like, I love you, that's why I know that you will learn what I'm trying to teach you, and I love you. Yes. Thanks for listening to what I said, and I hope you subscribe and like my video. Thank you very much, and bye.